Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, rain finally rolled in, so I got to come inside, and it was about time to record this anyway, so I needed to do it here. But let me ask you a question. Take this as you want. Believe me, don't believe me, whatever you want, okay? You can act on anything anybody says, however you feel, okay? If you say, oh, I'm full of shit, then ignore me. That's fine. If you have a tendency to pay attention to some analysis of what's going on, then act accordingly. All right. On Monday, the average price of gasoline in the United States was $3.63. For me, I'm about 10% less. Okay. Barrel of oil is bouncing right around 90 bucks. Okay. It's anywhere. West Texas Intermediate's at around 84 today, and Brent crude is somewhere around 89, down a little bit today. Okay. What would you do if the price of oil went up? What would you do if the price of gasoline went up? Are you ready? Okay. Do you have gas stocked? How would your budget handle $7 a gallon gas? Pretty close to double where we are now. Okay. You have to drive to work, you got to drive to the store, you got to do whatever. But $7 a gallon of gas. And people go, that's not going to happen. Really? Paid attention at all to what's going on in the Middle East right now between Iran and Israel? Now, I don't care which side you take. If you're pro-Israel, if you're anti-Israel, if you're pro-Hamas, if you're pro-Hezbollah, if you love terrorism, if you're pro-Iran, that's fine, okay? I'm pro-America. The only thing I'm worried about is how it affects us, okay? I could care less if they blow the living crap out of each other. Personally, I'd love to see Israel get rid of terrorism altogether, but that's my opinion. You have yours, whatever you want. So, with everything going on and the Iranians attacking Israel, I mean, we saw the other day lobbing missiles, bombs, whatever, okay? We saw Israel retaliate against some Hezbollah factions in Syria. Do you realize this? If that war escalates, which I'd say that's a better chance than even, you'll see $7 a gallon of gas. 20% of the world's oil, all of it, is shipped through the Straits of Hormuz. If there's a war between Israel and Iran, however small or big it gets, you'd see oil go up to 125 bucks a barrel. If by chance they went nuclear, because remember, Israel is a nuclear state, and Iran, thanks to good old Barry Hussein, probably is too. If that happens, you easily see a $150 barrel of oil. What happens even if it doesn't? If Israel strikes the Iranian oil fields, which you think would be their number one target, okay, that's going to drive the price of oil and gas through the roof. Gee, what are our options? Well, you could start getting it from Russia. Oh, we got a problem with that. Oh, but there's Venezuela. Oh, okay, that's right. That's a socialist dictator. Oh, but we could pump a bunch out of Alaska. Oh, no, we can't do that either because Joe just shut down about half the permits for oil exploration in Alaska. So where's it going to come from? What happens? What are you going to do? Now think about this. This goes bigger than just $7 a gallon of gas. How do you think the food gets to your grocery store? How do you think I don't know, pick something. clothes, tools, lawn furniture, Pez gets to Walmart. It comes on trucks, and trucks run on fuel. Oh no, I'm sorry. Joe's brilliant idea of electric cars, that ain't coming. Electric trucks, certainly no. So what would you do if gas goes to $7, if oil goes to $150? Do you have gasoline stored? Might be a good idea. Do you have diesel fuel? If you've got anything that runs on diesel. I mean, I don't know, a tractor, a truck, whatever you could possibly have. Think about this. Think just off the top of your head everything that you use that has gasoline. Your car, your lawnmower, your weed whacker, your snowblower. Yeah, I know it's April and mentioning snowblower. But those of you who live up north, do you really feel like shoveling come October, November when you get that 2 feet of snow? Otherwise, you can't get out of the house, right? Not that it's $7 a gallon of gas. Most people are going to go to work anyway. Think about that. Gee, I make $15 an hour. I've got to pay $15 in gas, 2 gallons, to get to work, and $15 to get home. Let's just say that, you got to drive 30 miles to work. Okay. Which is a relative, not a crazy commute. And you go, cool. I get to work 25% of the day before taxes just to go to work. And then everything else goes up. I hear all sorts of people talking about Iran and Israel, and where like I said, I don't care what they do amongst themselves. I care how it affects me. I care how it affects you. This is the important part of all of this. It's 10,000 miles away from us, what's going on. Yet it affects us 2 miles away at where the nearest gas station is, 3 miles away at where the nearest grocery store is. These are the things that people don't pay attention to. You always hear me say, think past here, cause and effect. If this happens, that's going to cause this, that's going to cause this, that's going to cause this. A whole bunch of people in this country have started prepping. We're supposedly up to somewhere around 15% of the country that is actively prepping longer than a 2-week grocery run, that are actually putting things away. Surprisingly, Gen Z and millennials are the biggest growing generation in prepping. Not because they're prepping for World War III or any SHTF. They're prepping because they don't trust the government. Gee, that's a good idea. Which again would be the whole reason for the Second Amendment. So maybe, if you guys are putting food away, maybe you'd understand the reason they put the 2A in the Constitution when they wrote the thing 250 years ago. We don't have to talk about whether or not a draft is coming. That's been floated by the Biden administration. That's been talked about in Germany. It's been talked about in England in the last week, okay, about whether both those countries have to reinstall a draft. It'd come here quick, okay, if anything happens. We're going to have to talk about sending our kids off to war in the Middle East again, okay. We need to think about how we're going to eat, how we're going to heat, how we're going to commute, how we're going to do anything. Do you notice over and over and over again, basically everything? We have a war on energy. Oh, we can't use coal. Oh, we can't use nuclear. Oh, you can't heat your house with wood. Oh, we can't do gas stoves, right? Everything. Every sort of fuel we have is under attack. Do you think if gas prices go to $7 a gallon, that Biden's limousine will stop going places? No. Do you think the White House won't have heat this winter? No. Okay. You and me, we may struggle on that more than we're already struggling. But go sit down and figure out your budget. Go through your receipts, go through your bank records, whatever, for the last couple of months, and see what you spend on gasoline. And then double it and figure out where you have to cut in your household. Is it electricity? Is it food? I mean, by this point, we're all pretty much out of things. Cut your cable TV, reduce your phone plan. Maybe you changed your car insurance from full coverage to liability. I mean, the country is pretty much cut to the bone already. Double gas. All the talk on all these bridge protests and airport protests, everything, free Palestine and, anti-Israel, and then the other side, whatever, all the chatter. Boil it down to how it affects you. My suggestion, make sure those gas cans are full. Maybe go buy a few more. Most people, preppers wise, have 25, 50, 75 gallons of gas put up. What you go through in a season. How much do you go through in your vehicle? My truck takes 25 gallons of gas. Okay? So if I've got 5 gallon gas cans out in my garage, that's one tank. How long does that last you? How far does that get you? Most cars these days will tell you how far you can go on a tank. 500 miles. When all the shit blows up, is 500 miles enough to get you where you want to go? What you need to do, depending on where you are. Get ready. Pain at the pump hasn't even started. $125, $150 oil, and we have nobody else to get it from. And our illustrious president is begging Venezuela for help. Think about that. What's the bolivar worth? Venezuela's currency. And the most prosperous country in the world is begging a country whose money is worthless for help. That's where we are. That's when you prep, when you figure out what you're doing. That should be your thought. The most prosperous country in the world is begging a country that's money is worthless for help. You think we're in trouble? Gee, I don't know. I sure as hell do. Pinball out.